Okay, welcome back. Thanks everybody for being here in our Google Plus page webinar. My name is Ryan Gerardi, and with me here is Phil Penton. How's it going today, Phil?
Hey, good. How you doing?
So I'm going to go over our agenda. We'd like to keep our webinar today to around 30 to 40 minutes, so we'll move pretty quickly. Real quick, we'll address why Google Plus is important. We'll help distinguish between business pages and local places, and then why you would want to merge these. At that point, I'll show you how to download the help guide that we're going to walk through for those that might not have downloaded that yet. It is a free download available from our website. Then Phil will spend about 15 or 20 minutes walking us through the process of getting your page started and how to merge it, and then we'll get into some next steps such as managing your circles. If you have questions throughout the webinar, there is a questions module on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar control panel. And what we just ask is that you type your questions in there, and while Phil is going through the guide, I will field those questions and throw them out there. No guarantee that we'll be able to hit every question. So in the event that we can't, we'll chat back to you and let you know that we'll probably address your question as a follow-up. And stick around at the very end. We do have a special offer for those that are here related to this, and then we'll let you know about some upcoming webinars and Hangouts that we have as well. So let's get right into it. First, why is Google Plus important? Well, Google Plus is essentially the future of Google, and it's here now. And there's a lot of new features coming out from Google. You know, they've had lots of apps and tools and technologies over the years, and Google Plus is basically the new Google that consolidates all of these things and makes them into one, powerful, incredible operating system for the web. And so today's goal is to show how and why you need to merge your business page that's on Google Plus with your local listing that is on what we could say old school Google.
Yeah.
Some things we know that really stress the importance of why you want to nail your Google Plus presence. We know that on Google.com, 20% of auto searches on Google.com and 40% on Google Mobile have local intent that are specific to the car buying process. And that is critical as an auto dealer. You're a local brick and mortar business, and you need to capture that effectively. We also know that 5 years ago, when people were out there online searching for dealers, they were visiting about 3.6 dealers physically, and today that number is down to under 2, in fact about 1.8. And to top that off, we also know that 73% of shoppers online are looking at online reviews of your dealership. And so that's where Google Places come into play, because your reviews are up there. So what I have here is a distinction for you between what a Google Plus page is and a local place or a local listing. So pages are a lot like a blog would be. You can post, put posts on your wall, much like you would on a blog. There's a couple tabs. There's an About tab, a video, and a Photos tab. You can put some basic information such as website and phone number, and you can put some links up there. And that's really, pages are very simple. A place or a local listing, it's like a directory listing. In a lot of ways, Google's like, it's the phone directory of before, but it's your business is in there under a listing. And on your local place, you can put much more comprehensive information about your dealership. For instance, you can put your hours of operation there. You can put special offers and coupons up there, and most importantly, that's where your reviews are showing, and that's where your ratings are that people are seeing as they search. So the benefit of merging these two is you put all this into one asset that's listed with Google. You boost up your SEO benefits as a result, and now your reviews and your posts and all of your social activity and your reputation are all really combined into one place. And to give you an idea what that looks like, well, I lost my transition. Oh, it's coming later, my bad. So we'll show you the end game in a minute. Let's talk real quick about the guide. My apologies. If you have not downloaded the guide, go to our website, www.socialdealer.com, and you will see on the home page a banner that looks much like what you see here, and you click that and it'll bring you to that URL you see, socialdealer.com/G+ help guide. Fill in your information, and you will, once you submit your information, you will be on a thank you page where just about everybody here did register for today's webinar. You will also then receive an email, and so check your inbox, and there's a download link, and simply just click that download link and you'll be prompted to save that PDF. And we're going to show that PDF in a minute. So you want to, so that's how you get the guide if you haven't done that yet. I'm going to go ahead and transition here and bring up the PDF guide, and Phil, if you're ready, we're going to have you jump in.
Yeah, so first we're going to start off here just going through the guide. This is, I'll say this is the first steps we need to take in order to merge page with your Google+. A couple of things. Most of you might already have access to your Google Places page. You do need that. And if you have a Google+ page already, I'm going to take a brief minute though to talk about what do you need to set up that Google+ page. It's very important. So the first thing here that you're going to notice on the help guide is you need to have a personal account. And that a personal account, let's start with like @gmail.com. So mine is ppenton at maybe at gmail.com. And with that, you need to have your own Google+ profile. Okay? And so when you log in, you want to create the page. What we're seeing here is, and I'm not going to go through that, but you do need to have your own personal page, and you do need to have your own personal profile set up in order to create that Google+ page. So scrolling down here, you enter in your information. It asks you to join Google+. Again, this is on your personal page. And then from there, you're going to get into updating your information. Now, something really important here, I've seen this quite a bit. I've seen in this step of the game where we're putting in Mercedes-Benz as the first name and the last name might be Springfield. And we do that because we want the dealership to own that profile. But the reality is, Google is coming back to you sometimes a week or 2 weeks later and saying, hey, this name does not seem real. And they're going to force you to go through that update. So please use a real person. We do that here when we sign up our stores. We use something that is Joe Smith, right? It is a real person. It's Joe Smith, and he owns this profile, right? But something that's not going to get you shut off, because, again, this profile, this personal profile is going to connect your business page, and you don't want to have your personal page deleted, which is going to affect your ownership of your Google+ page. All right, so we go through again, we set everything up. You add a photo. This is a personal photo. Think about if you're going to update your page, you're going to say something. This profile picture might sneak out, so always use something appropriate. Now, once you create that personal page, on the left-hand side, you'll see here, Google has on the left-hand side a button that says Pages. And when you go there, you roll over more, you click on Pages, and it's going to bring you to a section that says, here's all the Google pages you can manage. If you just set this up, you're not going to have a page there. If you already have a page today, you're logging in and you're going to see the dealership, or you can have up to 50 dealerships under one login. So if you're managing multiple or you're a large dealer group, just remember you're limited to 50 pages with one login. Now you click in the upper right hand corner, create a new page, and it's going to immediately ask you what type of page you want to create. And that's where you're going to select a local business or place.
Phil, we have a question back on the profile section that we'll read from Gabriella, asking, does this profile need to be fully set up and filled out, or just needs to be set up with the real person's name?
It's fully set up, so it is just a first name, last name, email address. There's some optional fields. You don't have to get into big details there. Again, this is just something that you're doing, and it has no effect. So yeah, you don't need to get into all the details. Just make sure that you do the bare minimum to set it up.
You can always go back later as well and fill in what you need.
That's correct. Yep.
We're good.
Okay. All right. So now, when you click on the local place or page, it's immediately going to say, okay, let's assume that it's safe to assume that every single one of your businesses out there has a Google Plus Local, which is formerly Google Places. We all have a place on a map. So Google's going to bring up and say, hey, your dealership, you had to enter your address, and it's going to ask you, is this your place of business? Sometimes you're going to see 3 or 2 places. And I can tell you that you want to make sure you select the one that you're actively taking reviews on today. All right? And when you select that place, it's going to ask you to confirm your information. This is a very important step. I've seen too many times where we try to connect these pages and we try to change a phone number, we tweak our address or we change some information. It is best to ignore that at this step. What we see is that you should just roll right through, take the information that's already on the Google Plus page, or the Google Plus local. It's already there and being used actively. Do not try to change it at this step. Come back to it after you verified the business. It's easier to change it. All right, so we go through, we select the page, the places page, and immediately it's going to ask you to start updating things, like your picture. A couple things. You have a cover photo. You might want to use like a picture of your dealership, maybe a picture of your sales team, something there that's going to go on the banner of your Google Plus page. And then you also have a profile picture. Do not use what I'll say a lot of text in your profile picture. You have to remember these are a very small square that's going to come up when you update your status or you post on something. And so it's going to be very hard for people to read that text, right? They're not really coming to your page. They're seeing the post that you're making. Use your logo. Use something. If you're going to use like a lot of text, just use your brand, like Forward or something like that. But don't get into a lot of text for your profile image.
Phil, we got another question come in asking, they understand that you have to create a profile to get to this point, but they really don't want that profile to use or be public. What are their options there with that profile? Does it have to be public, and what can they do with it?
It's going to be public. You can make the personal profile not public, right? You don't have to make that personal profile public, but you have to have a profile. And the nice thing is, let's not worry about the profile, because when you post on your page, you can act as your business. So even though I'm telling you to create a personal page, you can assume the business identity and post and update and do things as, for instance, Penton Ford, right? Your personal profile that you're creating is something that you're just going to log in to manage the page. Once you log in, you'll switch over to assume the identity of your business. Hopefully that answers that question, but it's a really good one. So let's talk about, we've created a personal profile so we can create a business page. We got our cover photo, we put all the information in, we're up and running, we got an image. But we're not done. The next step is we need to verify that business. Verifying your Google Plus page is going to allow you to merge with your Google Plus local. So at this point, if you were to go to the About tab, you wouldn't see reviews. And if you went to your Google Places page, you would see the reviews and all the other information. They're not merged at this point. So in the bottom right-hand corner here, you see on Ryan's screen, it says Verify Now. You're going to go down, you're going to click that button. And this is a very important step. There's a big communication gap here where we see things break down. This right here is a postcard. And a postcard is going to come to your dealership, and it has an attention to. Make sure you put that into somebody that's not going to get mail thrown away. And make sure if it's me, we actually email our dealerships that are going through this process, and we say, show this to the girl at the front desk. Show this to everybody that touches mail, and keep an eye out for it. Because they don't have phone verification right now for Google Plus pages. They do for the Google Plus local, but not for pages. So you have to go through a mail pin that's going to show up at the dealership. Now, once you click this button, I'll say that you're in a waiting period. We've seen these take 2 to 3 days to show up to the dealership. We've seen it take more. I think it depends on, one, the mail and where you're at in the United States, right? So at this point, you can now post to your page. You have a Google Plus page. You're writing reviews, you can upload images, you can do all that stuff on the page, but it hasn't merged yet. So let's fast forward. Go ahead.
A question has come in from Ashton asking, what if you have multiple businesses at one address? Obviously we see that a lot. Multiple franchises at one address.
So really good. I always go back to what do we do on Google Places? What do we do for the Google Maps locations? So we just went through this with a larger group, and what we did was you use suite number 1, suite 2, suite 3, and suite 4. But you cannot get to this step unless you fix it first on Google Places, because you have to merge these two, right? And so before you get here, if you have one brand, if you have 4 brands under the same address, you would actually go in and create new places, and you would say Mercedes-Benz of Chicago, suite 1, maybe BMW's under the same rooftop, so I do BMW, okay, of Chicago, suite 2, and I'd create each location page for that brand. Then I'd go, and you would have to create a Google Plus page, Google Plus business page, for each one of those brands. so that when you go to this verification and it's asking you to choose a location, you'd say, oh, I'm on my Mercedes-Benz Business Plus page. I need to say that the Google Places page is Mercedes-Benz of Chicago Suite 1. And you would walk through each suite. Again, there's more questions on that because we hear this one a lot and we know how much it takes to manage this. This is a big pain point. We deal with it every day here at Social Dealer. We're going to have someone that you can call here at the end to talk to about it. All right, so fast forwarding. You get that PIN 2 days later in the mail. On the right-hand side here where you clicked verify, it now turns into enter your PIN. You click that button, this page is going to pop up and Google is going to ask you to enter your PIN. At that point, you have confirmed you own the Places page and you confirm that you do own the Business Plus page. I've seen it take as short as 10 minutes and I've seen it take as long as 24 hours for Google to merge the pages. But what happens when it merges? And this is where it gets really interesting. What you see here is on the About page, all your reviews are under the About tab. The business introduction that you had in your Google Places page will come over. There's a lot of information that gets merged. All right? So at this step right here, you can now log in and you can actually respond to reviews, right? You can do all those things as your business Google Plus business page, right? Where you used to have to log into Google Places. It makes it easier to manage, especially if you have multiple brands under the same rooftop. And more importantly, the big benefit here, we've all had a problem with generating reviews. Reviews were getting solicited. They're getting filtered out. Google just recently talked about a change that they've made. Going through this process, you are going to actually put reviews on a page that you're asking customers to come follow. So Google necessarily doesn't know, are you asking them to come leave a review? Are you asking them to come follow your page? Are you asking them to come to your page to comment on a post? Since these are becoming merged, we're seeing that this is, I call this pro-business. This is really good for us to ask people to come to our page and engage with our business. Leave a post, follow me, or most important, why don't you leave a review? All right.
Jump back into the.
So let's jump back in. So I'm gonna stop here for a moment because that was a lot, and I just want to say that that's actually, I'll call that a basic step. All of that right there is to get started, but really that's the foundation to take it to the next level, right? And what we see here is, this is what it looks like after you've created your page. You can see here we have some circles. You see the nice introduction for Social Dealer. But you'll notice on the right-hand side, I'm logged in as my business page. Hit the button.
Ready for the next one?
No. All right, right there, link website. So what does this do? Well, essentially, Google's going to give you code and say, hey, connect your Google Plus page to your website. And so this code right here, you're going to need to take that code and give it to your dealer.com, your dealer on ADP, Cobalt, right? Anything. I know here at Social Dealer we manage that process because we've got to get out there and work with the webmasters. But again, you're just going to your website company and give them this code. But what does this do? And this is really important. This is what your page looks like today when somebody searches, as an example, Castle Chevrolet. Notice on the right-hand side, you saw all those ads. All right, so when you install this code and you link, now look. Castle Chevrolet at Villa Park took up all those ads. All right, it gives me my review, tells me my store hours. I just took up paid competitor space. I put my store there, and again, make sure you have a good review. Make sure it's 25 out of 30 like it is here. All right, because that is going to be showcased your reviews.
That's huge. Let's go look at that again. This is before. See the ads right under the map. No reviews, no business information, just a small map with your name and ads.
That's right.
You complete the process that we just went through, and you've eliminated those sponsor ads, mostly your competitors, and now you have your reviews, your scores, your hours, all that stuff.
That's right. And what you see here is, this is a good way, right? Google says this is relevant, and they are in business to make money, but this is very relevant to the consumers that are searching your brand name, so it connects to that page. So, the next step. We've done all this, we've linked our page, but there's something that's really important here about managing circles. We know that Google's going to change the way search results come up in the future. It's going to be by connections, right? If my friends are doing things, it's more likely I want to do things my friends do. So what do you see here? Well, in this example, Phil Penton +1, the official Chevrolet website, okay? That's showing your friends in circles, right? The consumers that are buying and servicing cars at your dealerships are doing these things. And so right there, current offers, build a vehicle, I've engaged with that. Google's going to certainly tell my friends that I've been there and I've engaged with it and done things. So what we need to make sure is we start building up our circles. It's good SEO value. There's a lot of, they call it the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? And what do you see here, those circles? So this is what it looks like for a consumer. Friends, family, acquaintances, following. But let me show you what it looks like for a good business here that's managing their circles for a dealer. I have my service customers. I have my 2012 sales. I have greater than 1 year. I can't really see it. Prospects.
Vendors.
And vendors. Okay. Now I've seen dealers put competitors in here so that when they post, they say, "Don't show my competitors' pages." If you're a large dealer group, or you have 5 or 6 brands, you want to follow all the other brands because it creates that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So that when somebody searches one store, okay, or when Joe Castle leaves a review at a dealership and I go there, Google's going to tell me, hey, your friend Joe Castle left a review here. It's very important for search engine optimization of what's going to come out of these linking of friends and your connections. So, we said a lot there. We know that this has been a lot of information. What type of questions, if any, did we have through all of that?
Believe it or not, we got most of them. We've got issues with wrong phone numbers and up to date. So another question here about having issues with the wrong phone numbers and up-to-date processes takes months, which Google confirmed.
Yeah.
Is there any shortcut? Seems kind of... That's a long time.
So, yeah, we don't. We can follow up. There is a form that Google has out there that you can reach out to that we use here. I'm not going to give that on the webinar, but we can certainly have people reach out to us and we can help with that form. But we have seen that when you go through this verification process, we know that it is hard to manage, but these are steps that Google is taking to give businesses ownership of their profiles. And this is going to change. It's going to be very similar to maybe your Facebook pages in that phone numbers just do not randomly change. We know that it's going that way, and that's why we need to get ahead of this by making these merges happen today. So I know there's still some struggles. We still have them. But we've been able to shortcut some of those with some forms and other ways to contact Google.
Another question coming in from Bill asking what happens if the postcard, you don't receive it or it gets lost. What do you do?
Great question. You would log right back in and follow the same steps that I told you, and there's going to be a resend postcard button. I probably hit that button. We probably, for every 10 we do, we have to resend 2 or 3. So it just follow the steps up to that point, and then when you get there, it's going to say resend postcard. Click it, and give it 2 to 3 more days.
Great, and we're going to make this our last question, but feel free to send them in, and we will respond to them offline. But one more question, this is from Bridget. Having issues responding to reviews on certain pages that they have claimed doesn't allow them to respond. What's going on there?
So when we have that problem, the first thing we do here is, are they merged, right? Because when you have all these different pages and you look at email addresses that you're logging in to access, we've found that if you go through the merge process and start answering reviews through Google+, we have less of those problems. I don't have an answer. We have it here. We just know if we merge the page and help our dealers go through that, it becomes much easier because it's tied to a real personal profile. That's how we take care of it here.
Great. So for those who have submitted questions, we want to honor, our goal is to be at 30-40 minutes, so we're going to start wrapping things up. So feel free to keep typing in questions. We have those, and we'll be able to follow up with you directly. As Phil said, I know this is a lot. It's a few things to juggle. It's technology. It's a pain in the butt for a lot of people. So we wanted to extend a special offer out to those that are here on today's call. We do this obviously for our dealerships. We do the merge. We set up the pages and the places. We help you claim them, and we do that. We normally do that at a $550 one-time cost. But for those in attendance today, we have you on a list. If you want this by the end of the month, or if you want this, let us know by the end of the month, and we will be happy to do it for you at a discounted price of $350. Again, we will create that page for you. We will coordinate the merger with your local listing. We'll help you claim that listing. We will work with your website provider to install that verification code, which then kind of unleashes your SEO benefits. And then we will also give you kind of a crash course on circle management. And on that note, keep an eye out. We will have more webinars, and we're also going to be doing some Google Hangouts where we'll be focusing on things like managing circles and best practices and whatnot. I'll mention in a second, but if you are interested and want us to do this for you, please get in touch with Bill Garland at 630-506-5551 and b.garland@socialdealer.com, and he will be happy to address any questions you have about what that entails and get that going for you. So, in conclusion, thanks again for being here. We wanted to keep this quick and to the point. Hopefully we accomplished that. Keep an eye out. We're going to be doing, on average, 2, sometimes up to 3 webinars or Hangouts every month. We'll be broadcasting those. On Friday, March 15th, we will have Social Dealer founder and CEO Joe Castle join us for a discussion with a presentation that we will be rolling out in the next couple of weeks called How to Suck at Social Media. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be, there should be some good shock value to that and some worst practices to apply if you want to be bad at social media. And we're going to have a fun, lighthearted discussion around that with our CEO.
So that's it. I think thanks again for everybody coming. Go sell some cars, right?
All right. Thanks again, folks. Have a great one.